please brighten up. So we're the first one on right now. Okay.
We appreciate everybody being here with us, and thank you for joining us. We'll start in just a minute or two. Okay. And we'll be broadcasting live to Facebook in just one moment. So, thank you for waiting. We'll pause, and as I said again, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the Zoom or on Facebook. And if you have anything you want, you can also send questions to me at my PTA account. It's Groveton PTA President @gmail.com. Again, that's Groveton PTA President @gmail.com. We're gonna. Okay. Do you have any? We'll give everybody just another minute. We're setting this up for the Facebook Live, and so hopefully everybody's joined. It's just 6:02 right now, according to my clock here. So hopefully we will be starting in one moment. Let's see how many folks we've got 44 participants, which is great. So 44 participants on Zoom and probably a few more on Facebook Live. I think we will. So, Ms. Casablanca, do you want to introduce yourself and begin? I'm sure everybody knows Ms. Casablanca, but in case you don't.
Good evening, everybody. Buenas noches a todos. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much for having me tonight. Thank you, Mr. Van Tassel and the PTA board for setting up this town hall meeting. I would like to begin by really sincerely and profusely apologizing on behalf of Mr. Swager. He really wanted to be with you tonight. Unfortunately, his 11-year-old daughter, Charlotte, had a medical emergency, and he is with her in the hospital, and she has been in the hospital for a couple of days. And we're praying and hoping for a speedy recovery, but he absolutely, it was very difficult for him to make the decision of not participating tonight, but we reinforced the fact that he needed to be with the family at this time. Muy buenas noches. Quisiera darles las gracias al señor Van Tassel y a todo el comité del PTA por organizar este evento esta noche. Quisiera comenzar pidiéndole disculpas en nombre del señor Swager por no poder asistir esta noche. El señor Swager tiene una emergencia médica con su hija y él está en el hospital con ella, y pues obviamente tuvo que tomar la difícil decisión de no participar de la reunión de esta noche. I will share with you what we know so far, and as you all have read in the news and know, this is an evolving situation. So we will share with you what we know so far, what we're thinking so far at Groveton, and what our best thinking is, knowing that that is all subject to change, right? Estamos conscientes que esta situación es una situación que sigue evolucionando a cada minuto, así que vamos a compartir con ustedes lo que pensamos es nuestras mejores ideas y pensamientos hasta el día de hoy, sabiendo que esta situación evoluciona constantemente. One quick thing I want to point out is that the PTA will be sending out the responses to the questions that are asked tonight they will share it on Facebook, and we'll share the minutes as well. And I will share the slideshow that we present tonight with the PTA so that you can also have access to it. Así que todas las preguntas que se hagan hoy, el comité del PTA las va a reunir y tratar de contestarlas y proveérselas para que usted las pueda leer en caso de que no pueda participar en el día de hoy. Además, esta presentación se la compartiremos al PTA, a la organización, para que ellos puedan compartir estos documentos con ustedes hoy. All right, so I would like to go ahead and get started.
Thank you, Ms. Casablanca. Go right ahead.
Okay, hold on. All right. All right. All right. So like I mentioned before, our purpose tonight is to really have a collaborative dialogue as a Groveton family and go over the information we currently have available so you can make the best decision for your children. And we know that initially this decision was to be on July 10th, was to be made by July 10th, and this has now been extended to July 15th. Así que el propósito de hoy era tratar de tener un diálogo y tratar de recopilar toda la información para que usted pueda tomar la mejor decisión para sus hijos. Y la nueva fecha fue movida del 10 de julio al 15 de julio. Le vamos a pedir que sean pacientes. We're going to ask you to be patient with this process. And just know that we may have some answers for you, but we do not have all the answers tonight. I know that you will leave this meeting with more questions, and I'm going to do my best to answer all the questions that I can. And we all know that there's still unanswered questions at the division level. So we will be diligent about answering all your questions and sharing information as it is given to us. Okay, sabemos que esta noche no tendremos todas las respuestas. Estamos conscientes que tal vez ustedes salgan de esta reunión hoy no teniendo las respuestas y tal vez teniendo más preguntas, pero nuestro compromiso es tratar de contestar todas estas preguntas a medida que recibimos información. I want to remind everybody, and this is something that Mr. Sorgan and I, we were reflecting at the end of the year about our Groveton Rocks, and you know, our staff will talk a lot about our commitment to our community, our commitment to refining instructional practices and things like that. And we firmly and strongly believe that our strength is our community of teachers and students and families. With these new decisions that we all have to make, something that has been a big discussion is, you know, what will in-school versus virtual learning look like, and we firmly believe that we are one school, right? And I know that there's a lot of information and theories about perhaps kids not being taught by Groveton teachers. Mr. Swagger and other principals are advocating very strongly that all Groveton students are taught by our Groveton staff. That decision will be made at the county level based on the data that is received. Nosotros hablamos mucho en la escuela de lo que se consideran las rocas de Groveton y sabemos que la más importante es nuestro compromiso con la comunidad y nuestra comunidad de maestros y estudiantes. Esta es nuestra fuerza. Con todos los nuevos, todo lo que se está desarrollando, con lo que tiene que ver con la instrucción, ya sea en presencia o la instrucción virtual, queremos recalcar que siempre vamos a operar como una escuela y que mantener la comunidad junta es nuestra prioridad número uno. Okay? So I know that as I was looking at your questions, the big things that people are wondering are, will Spanish immersion continue next year? Will advanced academic services continue this year? Will we have special education services and English language learning services? And the answer is yes to all of it. Spanish immersion will continue to be offered. Advanced academic service and local level 4 services will continue in grades 3 through 6 for students who are found eligible for services. And special education services, there is a huge commitment from the county to make sure that special education services are provided in the most appropriate way for students based on their needs. So all these things are being developed as we speak at the division level in terms of what will special education services look like. That we're also going to be receiving guidance from the local level 4 and advanced academic services office. And we are definitely working in the plans as to what Spanish immersion will look like. Also waiting on guidance from the county as to what their recommendations are when we have, as Dr. Brabrant named it, 2 different school systems, right? One virtual school system and one in-person school system. Así que una de las preguntas que más noté que mucha gente tenía era si iba a continuar el programa de inmersión, si vamos a continuar ofreciendo programas de nivel 4 de servicios de académicos avanzados. Y la respuesta es que sí, vamos a proveer programas de educación especial, inglés como segundo idioma, todo eso va a continuar. Nuestros maestros están conscientes y listos para proveer esos servicios. Y a todos los estudiantes que sean catalogados como que son elegibles para recibir estos servicios, van a continuar recibiéndolos. Okay? We are actually lucky to have a lot of these programs because we know that there are a lot of schools that don't offer it. I will say, and we have to be honest, they will all look very different next year. Sabemos que todos estos programas se van a ver de manera muy diferente el año que viene. So if you've probably heard, and if you haven't, and if you know someone that hasn't, parents have received an electronic form where they have to make a choice by July 15th or either online or in-person instruction. And it'll also include information about transportation, computer access, lunches, all that will be part of the form. And initially it was due July 10th, and now it's due July 15th, okay? I have hyperlinked here, and I will just quickly show that, hopefully. I hope I'm not messing it up. But I put the link on the slideshow for the form, and you'll be able to see in every language. And you just click here, and you will have to have your student ID number and your parent email, okay? So that's one way that you can access this form. We have also, I should say the county has also been sending this via text and email. So if you are receiving their text or email, you should be able to see that and log in, okay? So en esta presentación aquí puse el link para que lo puedan accesar en la página web, cómo accesar la forma, el formulario, y está en 8 idiomas diferentes. Y como verán, lo que necesitan es el número de identificación de su estudiante y el email, la dirección email de los papás para poder entrar y accesar el documento. Okay? All right. Mr. Van Tassel, was that easy to see?
I don't, were you showing a different screen other than the parent choice selection?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't see it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'll show them. I'll show it in a little bit again.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Okay. So you've probably received this. Initially, there were 3 scenarios being talked about based on the phases of the phase in which we are in Virginia currently. The county, and I have to say, this is not the only county that I think is providing these 2 options. I am hearing from different states that they are providing a virtual option and an in-school learning option with health and social distancing guidelines. And our discussion is really centered around scenario 2 and scenario 3, I'm sorry. Entiendo que ustedes sabrán que hay 3 posibilidades. La primera, el escenario 1, es en el caso de que los números en Virginia aumentaran y hubiese que cerrar las escuelas, todo el mundo recibiría instrucción virtual. Pero en estos momentos las dos posibilidades que se están considerando es aprendizaje en la escuela y aprendizaje virtual. Y esto es una decisión que la gente tiene que tomar y tiene que ser un compromiso de 1 año. So this is a year-long commitment. If the parents or the families choose in-school learning, and for some reason the guidelines change, then they would go back to probably scenario 1. But it is a full-time commitment, a year-long commitment as of right now. When we are talking about scenario 2, we are talking about reduced school capacity. And I think as of yesterday, it was 50% capacity. We don't know if that is going to be the case next week. We have no idea, and I'm sure you're following the news and you know that they're revising a lot of CDC guidelines. and we simply don't know what that is going to look like. Okay, so this is our best guess, our best informed guess of what it might look like. Okay, they are also talking about our 4 core areas and the importance of teaching the 4 core areas, whether it is through in-school learning or full-time online learning. So in the past, a typical daily instructional schedule would look something like this, right? Arrive at 8:45, morning meeting, you do language arts, you do math, science and social studies, or science or social studies, class specials, lunch, transitions, dismissal, etc. When you really look at the core, you're looking at language arts, math, science, and social studies. You're looking at approximately 3.25 hours of instructional time, okay? That is a possible schedule for the 2-day in-person learning, but that is not a set schedule, and I want to be super clear about that. It is only, the biggest focus is going to be on core instruction. So a lot of these things like lunch, recess, transitions, dismissal, arrival and dismissal procedures will be different. Morning meeting will be different, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Also, bell schedule. In the past, we've begun our instruction at 8:45. Considering that there are guidelines about bus and transportation, there is a strong chance that the county might change our bell schedule. We don't know if it's going to be, we're not expecting an 8:45 to like 10 o'clock schedule change, no. But we don't know if, in order to accommodate buses, they might need to change the bell schedule. And we don't make that decision. The county makes that decision. They will let us know because they're the ones arranging transportation, okay? So, el día típico de instrucción es un día en el cual se concentran las áreas más importantes de instrucción, lenguaje, literatura, lectura, escritura, matemáticas, ciencia y estudios sociales. Y eso constituye aproximadamente, no exactamente, alrededor de 3.25 horas de instrucción diaria. Estamos hablando de que esa sería la cantidad de tiempo en que se enfocaría la instrucción, ya sea en presencial o virtual, ¿ok? El horario puede que cambie, eso va a depender de la transportación. Nosotros no tomamos la decisión del horario, eso la decisión la toma el condado. Ellos nos van a notificar. Nosotros estamos esperando que haya ciertos cambios, pero no esperamos que sean unos cambios muy importantes. Sin embargo, sabemos que va a haber cambio. Todo esto va a ser muy distinto. Y como dije, esto es un posible programa de clases. Okay. Entonces, si vamos a, if we are talking about in-school learning, this is what a typical day would look, a typical week would look like. They've designated Mondays to do teacher planning and CLTs, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. There's also going to be an opportunity for intervention blocks, and then kids are going to go to school, whether it's group 1 or group 2. They'll be at school either Tuesday and Thursday, or they'll be at school either Wednesday or Friday, right? And when on the days that they're not, then they're working on assignments asynchronously, okay? Yes, it does say that student schedules will be assigned alphabetically to support families. This is a current model that represents 2 days per week of in-school instruction. We also have that intervention block for selected students, and that's going to be for students who need additional reinforcement like ESOL and special ed, or kids that need additional supports in learning. We don't know yet who is going to get an increase in the amount of daily school instructional time. We will be getting more guidance from the county, from the region, about who will qualify for that, and what guidelines will we follow to provide those additional services for students, okay? I know that some people are worried about the assignment alphabetically of the families. We have made a commitment as a school that we will work with families that really have critical needs and we need to look at their schedules on a case-by-case basis. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to accommodate everybody's requests given the restrictions in space and given the issue of safety, right? We're not going to be able to go over a certain number of students in a building. And so it's going to be something that we're going to be planning carefully, and you'll be getting more information as we are developing those plans, okay? En un día, las familias que elijan participar en clases y asistir a clases en persona, van a tener la oportunidad de ir ya sea martes o jueves o viernes o miércoles y viernes, y entonces van a proveer tareas para los días en los cuales no se encuentren en la escuela. Se van a designar quienes les toca el grupo 1 o el grupo 2 de manera alfabética. Este modelo obviamente representa un mínimo de 2 veces a la semana y sabemos que está el bloque de intervención adicional para proveerles servicios a los estudiantes de inglés como segundo idioma o los estudiantes que reciben servicios de educación especial. Estamos esperando más dirección sobre eso para saber qué estudiantes cualificarían para eso y entonces comunicaremos esa información con las familias. Okay? The county will assign, like we said, in person the day by surname. School placement decisions and classroom assignments are still up in the air. We don't know because, again, we need data we need student data and teacher data to make those decisions, but we are very conscious of the need to create balanced classes. So that is going to be a big topic of conversation in the next few weeks for us. Como lo dije anteriormente, el condado va a asignar qué estudiantes van los lunes, los martes y jueves o miércoles y jueves. Todavía no hemos determinado quién va a qué salón y quién le toca dónde, obviamente porque necesitamos la data, pero sí estamos conscientes de la necesidad de crear clases balanceadas. Okay? All right, and you may have seen this, and I am sorry to say that this might not be accurate as of Monday, because we were working and operating under a 6 feet between students scenario, and Mr. Swager asked me to strongly emphasize that as much as possible, we are going to try to stick to the 6 feet between students. Although they did say that 3 feet was okay on Monday, our commitment is to try as much as we possibly can to honor the 6 feet between students guidance, okay? But this is what it could potentially look like. This is not our classroom. However, I have been in meetings with building and facilities staff that are coming to the building. They've provided us with a map with square footage for everybody in the building, for every room in the building. So we have the map, we know the square footage. The building will be laid out differently, and it'll be laid out depending on the need. We will be working, like I said, with the county and with staff, with teachers also, to arrange classrooms that will provide the maximum amount of distance with students, and every student will have their own workspace. Mr. Swager is not too hot about the guidance about tables. We are going to try as much as we possibly can to have students not share a workspace. So that's our commitment as much as we possibly can. And then, you know, we will use some of the furniture in new and creative ways, and we'll work with teachers to make that happen. Como venía diciendo, lo que se constituye el plan hasta el lunes pasado era que íbamos a mantener una distancia de 6 pies, así que puede que este plan haya cambiado ahora con las nuevas recomendaciones de 3 a 6 pies. Sin embargo, Mr. Swager está muy claro en el hecho de que nosotros vamos a tratar de mantener los 6 pies para los estudiantes de cualquier manera posible y tratar de utilizar los muebles de la manera más adecuada posible para evitar que los estudiantes compartan un espacio de trabajo. Y si necesitamos utilizar salones que previamente no se han utilizado, pues entonces eso se hará y se utilizará, se moverá muebles de un lado a otro para asegurar que los niños tengan su propio espacio de trabajo. Okay. Y así se vería un salón de clase. Okay. All right, so the scenario 3, which is a full-time online learning, students are full-time online learners with teacher-directed synchronous instruction. Sorry. Okay. And that would be 4 days a week to ensure that they have access, right? Ensure equity and access. And again, we would follow the base school class schedule, which means that, you know, we would follow the core areas and teach those core areas. So, you know, it would be 3 to 4 days, and that includes office hours where, sorry, I'm gonna move to the next one, where it would be, you know, there will be time for kids to have that direct instruction with teachers, and then that additional time in small group. And that would be 3 to 4 hours a day in total. And that includes small group and office hours. And then up to 1 hour of specialized instruction. And that includes AAP, intervention, ESOL, which English language learners, and SPED. And as of right now, and again, this is our best guess, we're looking at 0.5 hours a day of specials. And that is not a final decision yet. Así que en el escenario 3, que es virtual, entonces estamos hablando de que los estudiantes están trabajando con la maestra de manera sincrónica 4 veces a la semana. Y entonces van a reunirse con los maestros de manera directa y van a tener oportunidad de estar en grupos pequeños, y ya sea en grupos pequeños o en grupos individuales, y van a ofrecer servicios de Advanced Academics, servicios de académicos avanzados, educación especial e inglés como segundo idioma, además de un posible de los especiales, educación física, música, alrededor de 0.5 horas al día. Esto es tentativo, no es final, okay? Something I want to point out is that central office is actually working very, very hard on providing a list of programs and courses that must be offered. So they're going to provide a lot of guidance. They're actually adapting the curriculum. That they will be, and they will be training staff as soon as they're back on contract. And it will certainly, the curriculum will look different than last year. And again, central office is going to be pushing that down to teachers as soon as they come back on contract. We are aware and we realize that there were continuity issues last year with distance learning, and not just at our school and many other schools, and they're working on making it a more standardized distance learning program. I also know that they are investing in some programs that the county is investing in some programs that they're going to be sharing and training teachers on when they get back. So además de todo lo que las maestras van a preparar, las oficinas centrales están adaptando el currículo general y van a entrenar a los maestros en cuanto comiencen su contrato. Ciertamente el currículo será diferente el año que entra. Nosotros estamos conscientes que hubo varios problemas con lo que tiene que ver con el aprendizaje a distancia, no solo en nuestra escuela, pero en varias partes del condado. Y el condado pues está tratando de realmente ayudar a que todos los estudiantes tengan acceso y oportunidad equitativa de aprender y de recibir el mejor currículo, porque hubo diferentes escuelas presentando currículos muy diferentes. Okay? So, when you compare possible class schedules, this is what it could look like, posiblemente, esto es lo que podría ser, ¿ok? El lunes va a haber intervenciones según sea necesario. There will be intervention groups as needed on Monday. And then students will have to complete asynchronous assignments. If you are on an in-school, you will attend school and complete assignments when you're not there. And if you are online, you will attend synchronous classes. 10 to 1:30 is just it's a placeholder. It's not set time for us yet. Once again, we need to know what it's going to look like in terms of number of students who are going to do virtual and number of students who are going to attend school. And then we will make those decisions, because you have to keep in mind that many of our teachers are probably going to be planning for both in school and virtual. And that's, again, a possibility. It's not a definite answer. Así que lo que de esta manera es que podría verse el día, la semana, mejor dicho. Los lunes, los niños que reciban servicios particulares participarían en grupos de intervención los lunes, y todos los estudiantes completarían tareas de manera independiente. Si participas en la escuela los martes y jueves, los miércoles y viernes estarías completando tareas, y si participas de manera virtual estarías participando cada día aproximadamente de 10 a 1:30. Este horario no es el horario fijo, no es un horario determinado. Todo esto va a depender de la data que recibamos en las próximas semanas. Okay. All right. What is our current understanding around safety? I know that this was a huge topic and a lot of questions around safety. And again, keep in mind, this is our best understanding of where we are today. And I have to stress that this is today. Masks are mandatory as developmentally appropriate. They're mandatory for students and adults. I cannot stress enough, and you will hear me say this a lot, because the question was, how can we support? This is a huge way you can support. Teach your kids how to wear a mask. It is critical that they learn. I can speak for my kids. They cannot stay with a mask on for more than 30 minutes. Let's get them practiced. Let's get them going. Let's get them learning how to wear a mask, learning how to wash their hands, because it is going to be mandatory that they wear masks. And again, we have the caveat as developmentally appropriate. We have students who are not capable of wearing a mask, and we know that. And our teachers will make sure our teachers take the precautions that they need to take. And I'm sure that the teachers will be perfectly comfortable wearing masks and wearing protective gear. And, we just want the kids to also understand that that is an expectation. I've actually been meeting with the custodial team this week, and next week we're going to be meeting again. I've also been meeting with the building supervisor and the supervisor of the supervisor as it pertains to summer cleaning and what cleaning daily schedules will look like for custodians. We are developing that as a team. Again, it depends on the guidance that we can continues to evolve, but it is certainly a top priority, how cleaning will be done in the building. And again, it is going to be a shared effort. We're going to need, our kids to make sure that, they clean up their things when they're, their area, and they keep their things in one place. It's everybody's job to help out in that. Plexiglass, of course, will be installed. That's coming from the county. Procedures in terms of dismissal and arrival. It is likely that we will have multiple entrances and exits as opposed to our big main entrance. It is likely that parents won't be allowed in the building, or any visitors. It's going to be severely restricted. Health screening, that is a huge topic. I will say, we are advocating strongly for more guidance on what health screening will look like. I understand that the county is working with the health department in order to develop protocols. They are going to be training teachers. They're going to be training staff. I'm assuming they're going to be training their PHNs and clinic aides so that, you know, that health screening is purposeful. And I don't have a lot of details about that because that is not within our control. We don't know yet. We do have a clinic, but we don't know yet if we're gonna need an additional area for possible sick kids. That has to be established, and we still haven't received guidance. Yes, some question came up about hallways and directionality. And yes, it is likely that we will turn the hallways into a one-way hallway. And, you know, again, that is still under development. As you can see, there are many pieces in this puzzle to make all this work. And yes, expect that delays and students might be a little late will occur when we are doing routine temperature checks. Las máscaras son mandatorias, tanto para los estudiantes como los adultos. Definitivamente estamos en discusiones con el personal de limpieza de la escuela para aumentar los procesos y protocolos de limpieza. Sí habrá barreras de plexiglas en la oficina. Habrá muy probablemente tendremos que utilizar varias entradas y salidas para evitar el contacto de estudiantes y de familiares. Sí tendrán que presentar un health screening, un reporte de salud. No tengo mucha información sobre eso. Estamos tratando de establecer las áreas, si hay que establecer un área adicional para los estudiantes que estén enfermos. Sí habrá probablemente los niños tendrán que caminar en una sola dirección. Y sí puede que hayan, que comiencen un poco más tarde dado a los controles de temperatura de rutina. Okay? What we don't know, what the procedures will be for health screening. That's not something Groveton will set. That will be set by the health department. What happens if the student doesn't wear a mask? We are waiting on guidance for that. Which students are not required to wear a mask? We are going to follow guidelines as to see who is exempt from wearing a mask. We don't know. What will be the protocol if a student or family member has COVID? We don't have that information yet. And again, this is not a solely Groveton decision. This is a decision that has to be made by the health department in conjunction with the region and in conjunction with the schools. What will be the protocol if a teacher has COVID? We still don't have that answer, and it is a question that is being asked on a daily basis to the division. Will teachers be able to get plexiglass in their rooms? We don't know that either. We don't have an answer for that. Lo que no sabemos es cómo serán los protocolos de salud. No sabemos qué pasa si un estudiante no utiliza una máscara, qué podemos hacer, qué no podemos hacer. No sabemos qué estudiantes cualifican para no utilizar una máscara. No sabemos cuál es el protocolo si un estudiante o miembros de la familia tienen COVID. No sabemos qué pasa si una maestra tiene el COVID. No sabemos. Y no sabemos si las maestras van a recibir plexiglas en sus salones o en sus escritorios. Tampoco sabemos eso. ¿Okay? Lamentablemente no tenemos esa información. All right, so teacher selection. Here's our current understanding, because I know that a lot of questions have come up about like, which teachers are gonna be in the building, which teachers are not. Right now, data is being gathered, and the priority for teacher telework, or teacher distance learning, will be teaching distance or virtually, is that individual medical issues, including, membership in a high-risk COVID-19 category would be a priority. Then there will also be considerations about medical issues of a member of your household, and then the personal preference, which includes childcare. This is still something that, this is the current guidance, but it is our understanding that, teachers still need to know if, we will need to share students across schools, if teachers will need to teach different grade levels, the number of students that are choosing in-person versus virtual. If, we don't know if you're going to get a previously assigned teacher or not, and for me, one of the most important ones, if we'll be able to find subs if someone gets sick. I'm not gonna lie, I'm going to be very transparent. We have a crisis when it comes to substitute teachers. It is very hard for us to get substitute teachers on a regular basis in the building, especially if it's a Friday, and that's just without the element of someone getting sick with COVID. So we don't know, and I know that there's a huge need for this information for teachers so that they can also make that decision. So la manera en que se va a darle prioridad a los maestros y quién va a estar en el edificio y quién va a estar dando clases de manera virtual es, número uno, a personas que tengan condiciones médicas y situaciones que se constituyan como de alto riesgo, como diabetes, cáncer, cualquier enfermedad severa. Cualquier familia o familiar que tenga alguna situación médica también en la casa, padres mayores que tengan condiciones. Y pues también obviamente todo lo que tiene que incluir las preferencias personales, lo cual incluye el cuidado de los hijos. Muchos maestros están en la categoría de que tienen estudiantes y tal vez tengan que estar en el edificio 4 días y los estudiantes solo van a la escuela 2 días. ¿Okay? Lo que no sabemos es si se van a compartir estudiantes a través de las escuelas, aunque Mr. Swagger está abogando para que eso no ocurra. No sabemos si las maestras van a tener que dar grados diferentes o grados múltiples. No sabemos el número de personas que van a escoger en persona versus virtual. No sabemos si es una maestra que ustedes van a conocer o no. Y no sabemos qué va a pasar en caso de que necesitemos sustitutos en la escuela, dado que tenemos una crisis bastante severa de sustitutos y de maestros. Cuando no sabemos qué pasa si se enferman y deben estar ausentes por un periodo de 2 semanas por lo menos. So, as I mentioned before, face-to-face instruction will be driven by social distance guidelines. But like I said, you know, we're going to really try to enforce the 6 feet distance, but it'll be with limited movement. As much as possible, breakfast and lunch will be in the classroom. Transportation will obviously be adjusted, and we are going to work with transportation. So parents are going to get multiple surveys, multiple communication about this, and we highly and strongly encourage you to complete this as quickly as possible so that we can get this data as soon as possible. Again, I mentioned it earlier, the county is putting together a new planning and pacing guide, and that will be, teachers will be training for this. We will have time set aside for on Monday for intervention and teacher planning. There will not be student sharing of materials, and no visitors will be allowed in the building as of right now. Arrival and dismissal are going to be very different this year. Safety is our #1 priority. We may have longer dismissal. We may use different doors. All that will be communicated as we get closer to the start of the school year. More than likely, our families won't be able to wait inside for kids. And all students, one thing that's really important, all students will receive a device. We have been distributing computers and MiFi devices, which were on hold for a while. But if you know of a family that needs internet access, please let them know to reach out to me or to any of our administrators. Or any of the teachers, and we'll make sure that we get them a MiFi device, okay? Let me see. Additional note, I've talked about the protocol for health. We don't know. We're still waiting on guidance on recess. That is a lot. That is also going to look a lot different. We don't know what the mask requirements will be when they're outdoor. We haven't received guidance on that. And we will make sure that our students have time outdoors. However, it won't look like a traditional recess at this time. We still don't know what specials will look like. We haven't made, we don't have all the data to decide who will be teaching in person and online. the bus schedule and the logistics that will truly be closer to the start of the school year, that will have that information. And, you know, the planning and pacing. Yeah, I think I've talked about these already. Así que lo que pues puedo decir es que sabemos que vamos a tratar de mantener los 6 pies de distancia, a pesar de que la recomendación es de 3. El desayuno y el almuerzo serán en los salones. La transportación va a ser ajustada. El currículo va a ser ajustado. Los lunes se dedicarán a las intervenciones y a la planificación de maestros. Los estudiantes no van a compartir materiales y muy probablemente 0 visitas permitidas en el edificio durante el día. No sabemos cuáles van a ser los protocolos de salud ni de receso. No sabemos los especiales, cómo serán. ¿Quién va a dar las clases? Todavía no tenemos la data para tomar esa decisión. Lo que tiene que ver con la logística y la transportación será determinada más cercana al comienzo de clase. Y pues los bloques de intervención el lunes y cómo será organizado, todo eso también será determinado más adelante. Y obviamente nos estaremos comunicando con ustedes. All right, I'm almost done, I promise. So how are you going to make your decision? We really want you to involve your children, create your own list of pros and cons, consider the needs of each child, consider your learning, set up realistic expectations, and talk to your doctor. And actually, Mr. Sauger gave me permission to share this example with you guys tonight. He has 6 kids, as you know, and in his family, there are 5 kids that will go to school and 1 that will do virtual because of her health condition. So all kids in the family can have an individual plan. So if you have 3 or 4 kids, you know your student and you know that one learns best virtually and others learn best in person, you can make that choice of sending 1 kid to school and one kid virtual. So just keep that in mind. But certainly gather your data, talk to your children and your family, and consider all those factors before making that decision. All right, so I know that we're going to get 2 questions. I know that you have additional questions and answers. I have placed on this slideshow some additional learning, some additional resources. Please keep in mind, again, that this is constantly evolving. So as we get more information, we will be scheduling additional meetings and communication with staff members and with families, just to make sure that everybody is aware of what the new requirements and expectations are for next year. All right, so thank you for your partnership and collaboration. Gracias a todos por su compromiso y colaboración. Sí sé que no les compartí, pero quiero que tomen la decisión, que se eduquen bien, consulten con tus hijos al tomar la decisión, consulten con su doctor, consulten con todos. And just remember, you know, we're a Groveton family. We're going to help families as much as possible. We're not going to know anything immediately, but we will work on the best plan and we will share it with our community. And we have to follow the guidelines of the county and the CDC and the health department, all right? Y esto es todo por mí. Recuerden que somos una familia. Vamos a tratar de colaborar con ustedes y ayudarlos de la mayor manera posible. No tenemos todas las respuestas hoy, pero en cuanto las tengamos, las vamos a comunicar con ustedes y con toda nuestra comunidad, tanto los maestros como las familias. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Casablanca, very much. We appreciate your help. And thank you for translating as well. I know that's double duty for you to do the presentation and then do the Spanish translation. And I'm always amazed at folks who are able to do that, since I cannot. And so thank you very much for doing that.
No problem.
That's about all I got for Spanish. We do have a few questions that have been asked on the chat and in the Q&A. And so one question, and I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of something, but somebody asked, are the asynchronous days going to be packets from the county or Groveton teacher design?
So both. It's not, I don't want to say that it's going to be packets. I don't think that they're thinking is packets this year. I think what they're doing is they are rewriting the curriculum. They're making adjustments to the curriculum, and they're investing in programs that kids are going to have access while they're doing asynchronous learning. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
The FCPS is, so what I say, let me look at my notes. FCPS is planning to purchase new digital resources in language arts and mathematics that will allow for that more self-directed or asynchronous learning when students are not in school. Yeah. So I don't think they're going towards packets this year. And I could be wrong, but that's not what I've heard so far.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I think that answer is appreciated. A few other questions, and some of these are, yes, somebody said there's an echo. I don't know if that's on my end or your end. One question that we had was, should students bring breakfast and lunch from home?
I don't know. It's a great question. My hunch would be yes. I think that there will have to be a protocol as to how to use, open, eat. Unfortunately, and I have to say this, I didn't say this in my slideshow, but this is important. And when I showed the daily schedule, if you notice, there was a part for morning meeting, and I'm going to try to go back to it. Sorry. All right. So where you see that arrival morning meeting, we have really discussed that during this time, a lot of the focus is going to be on procedures, to teach kids procedures on how to walk in the hallway, how to wear a mask, how to transition somewhere, how to do lunch, how to clean up your area. All those things are going to be a critical part of instruction every single day. Whereas in the past, we've always done a morning meeting gathering in the circle. That is not going to happen this time. What's going to happen is that a lot of that time will be spent on both building those relationships with students and teaching kids how to wash their hands properly, how to do all these things. So my hunch is again, all these are hunches, and my best thinking and my best current guess is that yes, you will be able to bring lunch, and that you might have to do it in a certain way. I don't know. We don't know yet.
Okay, thank you very much. If you could mute Ms. Casablanca while I'm talking, I think that might help. There's an echo. I know there's an echo. Okay, I think that got rid of it. And I will try to mute while you talk, just to avoid that echo. There's folks that are, there's a question, people are asking questions on Facebook as well. We're getting the Facebook questions, they're being sent to me so I can ask them. So thank you for somebody had sent me one of the questions. So we have a few more questions. One of the questions is, with no visitors in the building, will that mean all IEPs will be over the phone? Also, if the parent needs to bring medications that their child needs to take during the school year, do you know if this will work out if there are no, how this will work out if there are no visitors?
Certainly there are, I mean, I'm using my common sense and my best guess. Yes, the answer is absolutely. Parents are going to be allowed to bring, medication to school. I think that the issue with an IEP in terms of social distancing guidelines is that quite often we have more than 8 IEP team members in one room. So I don't know for sure that IEP meetings will be able to be conducted on site unless we have a large enough room that there's enough social distancing. What I'm thinking more about when we're talking about visitors, I'm talking about all the parent volunteers. I'm talking about, Groveton has always been a very open school to parents, and we have a lot of parents or visitors coming in and visiting teachers and students and sitting in at lunch. That is not going to be, my understanding is that that's not going to be the case this year, as of right now, as of today. But when it comes to, perhaps having a teacher conference, as long as social distancing guidelines and safety protocols are being used. I don't see how that would be an issue. The same thing with people bringing medicines to school. But I am thinking more about, you know, all the parent volunteers that come to our building to help out.
Great, thank you very much. Let's see, we have a couple of more questions. I'm sorry, I'm trying to. We have another question. Sorry, one question, and this is probably somebody new, asking, how do we get student ID information for students starting kindergarten next year? How should we submit their information?
Hello, can you hear me now? All right, yes. Good. Actually, if your kindergartner is registered, they will be assigned a student ID number, and I would encourage you to contact our SIA, our school registrar, Ms. McDess Ellison. She will be able to provide you with that student ID number. I will give you her information. It's Miss Ellison. You can find her on the Groveton website. There's a form that you can fill out and she will contact you. But you can send her an email directly and she will be able to assist you with providing you that school ID number, that student ID number.
Okay, and I have that flyer that you produced. I can post that also on the Facebook page, and if people want that flyer, they can reach out to me at grovetonptapresident@gmail.com, and I can send that flyer along as well. We have another question from Facebook. And we may have answered this already, but I just want to repeat it. Spanish immersion will continue whether students are in person or virtual.
Yes, what we don't know is what it's exactly going to look like. So in the past, people know that Mr. Lopez might be the kindergarten immersion teacher. He might be teaching several grades. And again, this is not final. I don't want anybody worrying about this now. What we know for sure is that it will be offered. What we don't know is what it will look like. We may have some teachers who choose, again, to do in-person teaching, and we may have some people who choose to do or who qualify to do virtual teaching, and we will have to take that into consideration as we plan what immersion will look like this year. But yes, we are going to be offering it on both in-person and online.
Great, thank you. And let me reiterate, Senor Lopez is great. Our son was in Spanish immersion kindergarten this year. Senor Lopez is a great teacher. Another question is, it seems that specials are shortchanged with these options compared to what was offered virtually in the spring.
Yeah.
What will be the specials teachers be doing for those in school, and how can they do more asynchronous videos to support the students in those areas?
Yes, again, I just want to stress very strongly that that was a possible schedule. It was guidance that was sent. Every department, whether it is, you know, specials or AAP, is actually going to be sending more guidance on what it will look like. It may be that 0.5 is synchronous and another is asynchronous. We don't know exactly what the expectations are in terms of that, and that hasn't come to us yet. So it is certainly something that is being asked to be clarified, because it does, we agree with you. I think specials are just as important as core areas. However, the current focus has been, the most information we've received right now is on the core areas, not on specials. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. We do have another question about what is the current breakdown of preference numbers, those who have chosen in-person and those who have chosen virtual so far?
We don't have that yet.
Okay, and then they want to know, how do the teachers' preferences compared to those numbers?
We don't have that data.
Okay, and then they wanted to know whether there was a way to keep the community updated on those numbers, and I'm guessing since you don't know, there's no way to keep us updated. Thank you.
No, but again, these are things that are beyond necessarily the school control right now. It is my understanding that as soon as the county, I think the county is also tracking this data as a whole to make additional decisions. And then that is all going to trickle down to us. And then we'll be able to tell you based on this, then we'll be looking at that. But we're not there yet.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just, people just want to know. And I think myself personally, just hearing you say that we don't get the answer, it comes from the county, we haven't been provided that information, is nice to know, because then at least we know that nothing's being withheld from us. And that's, for me personally, that's always nice to know. That's always nice to know. And I hope it's the same for others.
And I can't stress enough, I really, really want everybody, and that includes, you know, all the students and teachers who are watching, this is all tentative. This is our best educated guess given the information we currently have. You know, last week we were strict about the 6 feet separation, and then Monday Dr. Brabrand talked about 3 feet. That didn't sit well with a lot of people, and you know, our commitment is to try to keep the 6 feet distance as much as we can. So, you know, it changes the game though. It changes how many desks in a room. It changes a lot of things. So we're going to take it as they come, and we're going to keep adjusting and keep communicating as much. And I also want to stress that we will be, once, you know, our staff is back and our admin team is all back, we are going to be scheduling some, you know, we used to call them parent coffees. I'm not sure we can call them a parent coffee right now. I'm not even sure that it will be in the library. I don't think that could happen right now based on current guidelines, but we are going to find a way to have either another town hall or more town halls, and or some kind of meeting outdoors where we can have these conversations with parents both in English and in Spanish.
Great, thank you so much. We have another question. Will parents be able to walk kids to the door until school opens? Understand that we cannot go into buildings.
More than likely, but I don't want to speak for more, you know, our school is a community-based school. That's our strength. So I personally love seeing, you know, the families drop off their kids. They may need to drop off their kids a little further away rather than inside the building. And I'm not sure how that's going to look, but we are definitely going to try to accommodate as much as possible all these things that I know are so important to our families and that make Groveton so special. So absolutely.
Thank you. We have another question. On June 26th, FCPS put on the Q&A for staff about childcare. There were 2 options of either being supervised during the school day by a FCPS employee or allowing instructional staff that are school-age children could attend class 4 days a week. Have you been given information on that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you for answering that. Do you know if, another question is, do you know if parents can meet teachers through video so we know who they are?
Oh, absolutely. That will be, you know, we had back to school night scheduled, open house scheduled, and all that right now. As you know, there is a proposal. It hasn't been approved by the school board yet, but there is a proposal to change the school start date. The teacher start date will be the same, but this would allow teachers to go to more training, understand the, you know, the new curriculum and the new platform. We're still going to use Blackboard Collaborate and Google Classroom. That will still be utilized this year, but there are going to be additional tools. There are going to be additional, programs, as I mentioned, language arts and math programs that we would like the teachers to receive training on so that they can then, you know, share that with parents and information sessions that are more likely going to be virtual. And again, everything might change based on what we are told in the next few weeks. So.
Okay, great. Next question is, somebody said, thank you for all the information and work being put into trying to navigate this unprecedented situation. And I agree, thank you very much for your help. Some questions from our end. Will the wait list for Spanish immersion be impacted?
The wait list itself, no. We are still going to be having a lottery. So if you can imagine, the kindergarten registration was impacted by this school closing, and now our families are registering again. And so we are going to be sending information out in the next, I don't know, 3 to 4 weeks about the Spanish immersion lottery and about the numbers. But, you know, we are not, I don't know exactly what the class numbers are going to be, but we are certainly still going to be taking new kids into the program. That part of, you know, what it will look like, whether it will be in person or virtual, is what we don't know. But in terms of the wait list, you know, we have a wait list. When somebody leaves, we put another person. We're going to have the lottery. So we will see. I mean, we're still developing that. And again, we need data to really be able to make those decisions. And so to that point, I'm glad you bring that up. I do think from an update that Mr. Swagger just shared with me, that we do have a large number of parents that have not filled out the form. So I think it's important to have that information before we start making those decisions. So we strongly encourage parents to fill out the form, you know, even if it's on July 15th, and we're okay with that, but we don't want the parent's voice not to be heard.
Thank you very much. That's a good reminder that people still need to fill out the form by July 15th. Another question is, if our child is in in-person instruction, will they have the same teacher or teachers throughout the school year?
It's a great question. I would think we are going to, you know, the teachers are not going to be rotating throughout 4 or 5 different classrooms as of right now. And we're going to try, again, safety is our biggest priority, and instruction, obviously, right after. So keeping safety in mind, whatever decision is made about teachers and how they're going to be supporting students, or, you know, in the past students would transition, this time we're looking at probably teachers transitioning. We are going to make sure that that safety is considered so that the risk is as reduced as possible. We're not going to be able to eliminate the risk, but we will try our very hardest to make sure that we reduce the risk as much as possible for both students and staff.
Thank you. Another question we have is, what thresholds have to be crossed, or what metrics are you watching to make a decision on switching from scenario 2 back to scenario 1?
So that's actually, it's obviously not Groveton that makes that decision. That would be Dr. Brabrand along with the governor in Virginia. I don't know. I actually don't know. And keep in mind, I also want to put a caveat about a couple of other things. Mr. Swagger may have information that I don't have access to. Just so you know, I may be saying I don't have the numbers, and it's true, but Mr. Swagger may have them and I don't. So just keep that in mind, that I'm giving you my best educated guess as of right now.
And we understand, and we appreciate that. And, you know, we understand that Mr. Swagger has a unprecedented family emergency at this time, and just, you know, we hope everything's okay, and, you know, he can get back to work. He can get back soon. We have, for another question, for in-person students on days they are learning at home asynchronously, is there an instructor? Will it be the same person they saw the day prior?
I don't know that there's going to be an instructor. I think that the goal is to be assigned independent work. But again, I think that FCPS is developing not just a curriculum, but also programs that support that independent learning. So there will probably be opportunities for, you know, teacher meetings or some kind of small group work in person, and then perhaps the teachers will guide them through that work so that they can do it independently. But as of right now, my understanding is that on the days that they're not in person, there is not additional support available. And again, that can change. But that's the current understanding.
Okay, great, thank you. And then next question is, how are standardized exams that students are scheduled to take during their particular class year going to be treated differently based on the circumstances, if at all?
So that's something that the Office of Student Testing will provide guidance on that. And I honestly, they have been very good about not communicating with us on that, because it's not, I would say, although it's something that I'm sure they're thinking about and designing as we speak, it is not what we're going to focus on as we try to open the buildings in the safest possible way. I think, like I said, safety and instructional practices are going to be our big focus as we go into the beginning of the school year. But we will certainly receive guidance from the Office of Student Testing. Virginia will definitely be sharing information about that, because they provide memorandums at the beginning and throughout the year about the new requirements or guidelines or exemptions. So I'm sure that we'll be getting guidance about that.
Okay, thank you very much. And then somebody else asked the same question about, will there be a lottery for kindergartners to enter the Spanish immersion program? And if so, when?
We don't know that yet. Again, once we have additional information, and there, you know, it's a tricky part. There are multiple things, multiple layers that have to be considered. Room arrangement, space is going to be one. Virtual opportunities, teachers. Will it be one teacher teaching multiple grades? Will it be, we don't know that yet. And that's really going to come, once we have that, then we can say, you know, we have our dual or two-way immersion program. This is how many will be in person. This is how many will be virtual. This is how many we can take here. This is how many we can take there. But there will be, and certainly families will be communicated. We will be sending out school communication when that is happening, so that people know that it's coming. And it's not going to be next week.
Thank you very much for letting us know. I just want to say thank you to everybody for hanging on. We've got like 52 participants still on. I think we had a high of about 63. So it sounds like people are staying on. Thank you very much. Just a few questions left. Somebody asked again, what would standardized testing look like? I know you've answered that. Somebody else asked again about the lottery for Spanish immersion. I'm just going through the questions, making sure. Somebody asked, do you have a sense of how teachers at Groveton are feeling?
Yes, I do. And in the spirit of transparency, you know, to me, Groveton is a community. I've worked at other schools and I have never had the sense of community that I have at Groveton. And our teachers care about each other and care about our students. And I know that teachers are anxious. I have not heard a single teacher say, I don't want to teach. I have heard every teacher say, I want to be there to support my kids. I don't know if I can do it in person or online. How am I going to work out? You know, I have 2-3 kids at home and I have to show up to work 4 times a week. How is that going to work? They don't know that yet. And we're trying to provide them with the information that, that we have, we're trying to provide them with as much information as possible. There is a staff town hall that I've encouraged my staff to attend on Friday, because there are a lot of unanswered questions. But I also know that, you know, I get a lot of emails from teachers that are like, I saw so-and-so today online, and they sent me an email and they're missing the kids and they're dying to get back to work. I think safety, just like for a lot of our families, safety is the #1 priority right now. For everyone. But it's not a matter of not wanting to teach. It's a matter of, let's put the protocols in place so that we can do it in the best way possible.
Thank you, yes. Another question, a little bit different on Spanish immersion, is when will we need to make a decision to remove our child from immersion if our child has already been in Spanish immersion?
So we don't encourage anybody from removing their kid from immersion. However, that decision can be made at any time. If you choose to remove your child from Spanish immersion, that is entirely your decision. If you know me, you know that I always discourage that because I do firmly believe in the importance of bilingual education. And so as much as I can respect that not everybody might be a good candidate for immersion, I personally try to keep kids as much as possible in the program, but parents can move a kid out of immersion at any time, and that is their decision. They just have to let me know. I will try to convince them otherwise, but I will also respect their opinion if they choose to do so.
Okay, thank you. Somebody said, we're going back to another question. Is my understanding that other schools in the county have the preference numbers as they come in? Is Groveton not receiving those same updates?
So here's what I can say. I'm not receiving the updates. Mr. Swogger might be. I talk to him once a week right now, once a day, I'm sorry. And he has not shared that information with me.
Okay, thank you. We have another question about immersion that we've answered. It says, somebody has a question. You can change your choice up to the 15th. Teachers will be teaching the other group of students for face-to-face teaching, so we'll not be able to get online often on those days. Independent homework.
So my hunch is yes, there is going to be independent homework. And that's a hot topic too, but there is going to be assignments. There are going to be assignments that kids have to complete independently. Yes.
Okay, thank you. It says, what if a child can't work independently and need guidance on the day of no school?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So there is, there is a discussion about those intervention blocks for selected students. And that could be, an opportunity for students to meet with a teacher and the teacher guiding them through that work. Yes. And that's certainly something that, I actually, so what I'm going to ask you is that these questions that are not really answered are sent to me or to us as an admin team, because we will be trying to answer them or seek someone who will provide us help with those answers.
Yes,
I think it's a very valid point. I really do. I mean, if you're a student that needs supports while working independently, I don't know today what it could look like, but I sure understand why there would be a need for someone. And again, my best thinking on this is that some roles might need to be rethought about, like instructional assistants. They might be there to support. I don't know, but that could be an excellent way of supporting kids that need additional help. So.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple more questions so far. Do we expect any impact to holidays, winter, spring breaks, end of the year? Is there still a minimum number of instruction hours or days?
So I know there was another survey sent about the calendar.
Yes, there was.
I don't think we have the answer.
For the next year.
Right. So it is my understanding that we're still looking at the calendar that was set for this year, where there are and I don't have it in front of me, so I don't want to speak without that information, but I know that as it stands, that calendar would remain consistent unless we hear otherwise.
Okay, thank you.
I'm trying not to use the lines that Dr. Brabrant used, but we are building 2 school systems. So.
Understood. And another question, how can we be sure if our child is continued to be enrolled in Spanish immersion? This person prefers that option. Do we have to send any extra paperwork or enrolling document?
Not at all.
Okay.
No. We do know which kids are still enrolled in immersion, and they will continue to be in immersion. I have not heard anything, and we are strongly advocates for kids continuing to receive the things that they have received so far, and that will not go away. So I want everybody to be at ease about that. We will probably have to adjust, what it will look like. And we don't know, we don't know who's going to teach it. And that's where we'll have to wait and see. But we certainly, it's not going away, and kids are not going to be kicked out of immersion or kicked out of another program for that reason.
Okay, thank you. Somebody said, thank you for the follow-up information on the numbers, Ms. Casablanca. I appreciate that transparency. It would be great for our community to learn those numbers in the coming days, if possible. Thank you. And I agree, but you can only do what you can do, Ms. Casablanca, but if you do get those numbers and can pass those along, I make it my pledge that I will post that on the PTA Facebook page and try to get that information out to as many people as possible.
Sure.
Thank you. Somebody else said thank you for taking time out to talk with us, and I reiterate that. Thank you very much for answering these questions. We do have one more question. It says, you probably don't know, but do you have any idea about strings or band next year?
There's still, you know what, I love music. So we are aiming for strings, bands and strings. We don't know if it's going to be virtual, you know, and I just want it to continue. And the programs are not going away. They will look different, but they're not going away. So, you know, if it is a reduced capacity and they do it in person in very small groups, that could be an option. It could also be virtual, like a lot of, like my niece learning, oops, sorry. I think I made a mistake here. Like my niece there we go. Like my niece is currently taking guitar lessons online. It could be a hybrid of both, but it's not going away. And if it does, we'll certainly would advocate against it, and we would certainly let you know. But as of right now, that is not at all on the table.
Okay.
Neither is reducing specials. I think that what we're probably looking at is a hybrid model, right? Where part of it will be synchronous and part of it will be asynchronous, or live and, you know, virtual.
Okay. And I think we have one final question, unless somebody else comes up with one. Any word about SAC?
So the official word that I have about SAC is that they are working with the division to come up with their plans, and they have not submitted those to us. And when I mean to us, I mean the division. We are not, as some of you may know, some of you may not know, but SAC is a separate entity. They use our facilities, but they're a separate entity. They're part of the Fairfax County government. However, due to the huge need for childcare for both parents and teachers, I know that the division is working closely with SAC to develop some plans, and those have not been submitted yet. But again, once we have information, we will share it with you.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to say thank you. I mean, you've gone over an hour and 20 minutes, Ms. Casablanca, by yourself. Thank you very much doing the English and the Spanish. So I want to say thank you. If anybody has any last minute questions, actually, I just got one more question. It says, I'm sorry if I missed this, but how will the school handle lunch period?
It will probably be in the classroom. We don't know yet. I don't think we're going to have large groups in the cafeteria at all. Most probably the cafeteria will be used in a different way, but we don't know. And again, you know, we're going to have to look at case-by-case scenarios. We're going to have to look at procedures and protocols. But as of right now, what I'm hearing is lunch in the classroom.
Okay. Thank you very much. If anybody has any, we've got Ms. Casablanca here. We appreciate it. Somebody said, thank you. God bless all. Go Tigers. Muchas gracias.
I love that.
I think I agree. Thank you very much, Ms. Casablanca. We're getting some of those. And I agree with that. Thank you very much for participating.
No, my pleasure.
And if there's anything, if people have any additional questions, you can send it to myself, and I'll try to forward along to her. Ms. Casablanca, Mr. Swager, and that's Groveton PTA President @gmail.com. So, and
like I said, we would, yeah. Like I said, we will definitely be setting up additional town halls and community meetings. We don't know what they will look like yet, but once we have concrete information, this is a very evolving situation, and I just ask everybody to really just be informed and listen, because things are changing rapidly, and everything I could tell you today might not be as relevant tomorrow. So just, you know, stay informed, and we're gonna work on this together, and we're gonna make it happen. So go Tigers! Woo!
Thank you very much, and thank you. And you know, we had set this up before they changed the date for the letter to the 15th.
Sure.
I mean, this was originally set up a week or so ago when we thought the deadline was Friday. So that's kind of why we did it today. So
yeah.
But thank you everybody for watching and listening and doing questions. And thank you again, Ms. Casablanca, and give our best to Mr. Swager. and his family, please do. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night. Buenas noches.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.